Good morning. So when I left Jehovah's Witnesses, why didn't I lose my faith? I was hurt so badly by the elders, I became seriously ill, to say the least. Now, I believed at first that it was because the elders were not acting according to Watchtower's rules. They'd gone renegade and done their own thing. Because I'd even read in the Watchtower that elders have to do this, this and this, and they weren't doing it. So I blamed the elders. I eventually went to court because the situation was so bad. And there I found out something extraordinary. That the elders had done what Watchtower's governing body had told them to do. It wasn't in accordance with Scripture, and it certainly wasn't even in accordance with the Watchtower article. So then I realised that Watchtower's governing body had not bothered to examine the Scriptures properly. They weren't relying on the Scriptures, they were relying on their own human wisdom, which was bad, enacting rules which had nothing to do with God. So it wasn't God's fault. Then I started reading the Bible without Watchtower's glasses on, and I realised that the Bible is an extraordinary piece of literature. We have history in which we get warnings on how not to live our life, encouragement on how to live our life. We have poetry, and best of all, we have Jesus' teachings, which will, if we follow his teachings, we will have a better way of life. So I went to court and I needed prayer. Even when I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses, God answered my prayers spectacularly at times. I'm sure you have your own experiences. Then, when I was going through the court case, Judy Angel, thank you Judy by the way, sent me this book, New Testament Words. And that was the spiritual help I needed to get through the court case. And it worked out okay. Now, I know that many of us have left Watchtower and lost faith completely. So for those who have turned to atheism, I'd like to look at a bit of science. And this morning I'll focus on amino acids. And they are the most extraordinary chemicals you could ever come across. Here's one. This is the chemical composition of an amino acid, which goes to make protein. You'll note it's made of carbon, oxygen, hydrogen and nitrogen. It's the nitrogen that's important here. Don't worry about the S for sulfur on the side. I'll come back to that in a moment. Now, I've borrowed this from Britannica, so I've left a link below, and they have a little 2-minute video which explains this far better than I can, so I recommend watching it. Here is a picture of 3 different amino acids. Now you'll note that they all have the same chemical composition at the top, but hanging, for want of a better word, from the central carbon, they each have a different group, which will give them different properties. There are about 500 different amino acids in nature, but the body only uses 20 of them. Now what the body has to do is string these amino acids together in a long string in exactly the right order, and sometimes it will use hundreds if not thousands of different amino acids. Now if you get it wrong, you're in trouble. Then this little string, or this big string of amino acids, will fold up, and this is what you get. Here are pictures of 2 different proteins and how they fold up. This is just a tiny part of how we function as living human beings. I would like you to think about whether it could happen by accident or not. It's our DNA, of course, which makes sure that all the amino acids get strung together in exactly the right order. And that is phenomenal, considering that it's making about 20,000 different proteins to help our bodies function. You have skin proteins, muscle protein, heart, liver, kidney proteins, you have digestive enzymes, and the list just goes on and on. And the DNA has to order all of these and get it right. Now, there's something interesting about DNA. You can switch off certain genes. Now, that's handy because you don't want wings growing out of your ears. It's called methylation, and a methyl group, which is made up of carbon and 3 hydrogens, and you can attach that to a certain gene and switch it off. So this methylation will switch genes on and off as you progress through life. And apparently, if you want to keep it healthy, you need folate from green leaves and vitamin B12. So make sure you get those in your diet if you want to live to a ripe old age. So thinking about these incredible things that God has made, and one thing that is most important of all is that none of this works without life. We have no idea what life is, but we know the difference between life and death. This extraordinary little spark that keeps us going, it has to come from God. Can it happen by accident? I'll leave you to answer that. So keep reading the Bible, keep praying, keep your faith strong, because without God, this world is going downhill fast. We need the hope that God gives us. So God bless you all. Thank you for watching. Take care.